Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I will tell you how you can create a Zoom meeting link using Node.js and Zoom SDK. Okay, so now why I'm creating this video, that is the most important thing. So recently I was working on a freelance project which was a hospital management application. It was for one of my freelance clients. So their requirement was that from the mobile application, okay, they can book an appointment with a psychological doctor. So now the appointment of psychological doctor was only available via virtual meeting. Okay. So in order to create that virtual meeting, the basically the platform which was suggested me to use by their development team was Zoom. Okay. So how the process was that from the front end, basically from the mobile application, we were creating the ticket for the psychological doctor. And when that ticket was generated in our backend, so it was initially in the draft mode because no payment has happened. Now, after the payment was done, so after that, we have to schedule a Zoom meeting. We have to create and schedule a Zoom meeting for both the doctor and the patient. Okay. So that was the use case. So the same thing I will tell you that how you can create it using Node.js because the tech stack of that project was Node.js and TypeScript. Okay, on the backend side. So I thought that it would be a very interesting topic to teach you guys. So that's why I thought of creating this video. So let's see how we can do that. So this is just a bare minimum Node.js project with the basic package.json and some couple of dependencies, bcrypt.env, express, mongoose, and node fetch. That is what I'm using in backend to make API call from server to server, and index.js, that's it, which is empty. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So first of all, I will create a folder, okay, with Zoom, okay, which is the name of Zoom. So in this, I will create a file with zoom.service.js. Okay, now in this file, we will be writing all the code to create a Zoom meeting. So first of all, let's see how we can create a Zoom meeting. Okay, so for that, first of all, you need to have your account on the Zoom marketplace. Okay, I'm not talking about just a normal Zoom account. Okay, which you use to join meetings and all. Okay, it is sufficient, but although you need to have a Zoom app marketplace account as well, because that's the only place where you are going to, create your project from where you, like from this place only you will get your API key, client ID, client secret, account ID, and all other things, plus the documentation as well. Okay, so let me sign out first of all. Okay, and then let me show you how to create account basically. Just go to your browser and write Zoom marketplace. Okay, click on the first link. Now here is the Zoom app marketplace. Okay, here you can see develop, view, app types, documentation. So first of all, let's click on view app types. Okay, because Zoom has couple of applications, right? Uh, there are server to server applications. There are those applications which are actually published on the Zoom app marketplace, okay, which are used to schedule the Zoom meetings, Google Workspace, and all other things. Okay, so what I will do is I will just simply log in with my Google account in this because that's the same account which you can use on the Zoom app marketplace as well. So I am already registered and I am directly logged in into my marketplace account. Okay, so here you can see that there are a couple of categories in the Zoom app marketplace: analytics, broadcasting and streaming, CRMs are there. Okay, here you can see some of the applications according to Zoom product like Zoom meetings. These are the some of the apps which are present. Okay, but we have not, like, we don't want to use these things. Okay, we want to create our own application. Suppose you might be building a same application in future, or you might have built that thing in the past. Okay, for like a doctor and patient, or you might be building your own edtech product where you want that, you know, it can be a multi-tenant application, like where individual creator can come, they can, you know, create their own Zoom meeting from the your edtech SaaS application basically. Okay, so that's the basically usage uh, of this kind of application. Okay, so now what you have to do is just click on the develop. Here is the documentation. Let's open this into the new tab. Okay. Now let's click on the manage, because from here you will be managing your all the applications which you will create. Okay. So here you can see that I already have an application created. Okay. This was for my client. Okay. So now what I need to do is let's click on this develop and build app. Just select this thing. Now here are the different app categories, okay, which you want. One is general app. Okay. General app means a normal application that will be published on Zoom app marketplace, which will use Zoom APIs, okay, like webinar, Zoom meeting, chatting applications, and other applications as well. Okay, which can be a dedicated SaaS product which you can, deploy onto the Zoom app marketplace. Okay. Now, second is the server to server OAuth application. Now, this is the kind of application which we are going to create, because see, Zoom will give us APIs which we can call from our, like, a backend. Okay, it can be a Node.js backend, it can be Python Django backend, it can be a Java Spring Boot, or whatever kind of backend it is. Okay, so this is the application which we are going to create. Now, third app is a webhook only app. See, webhook only app means Zoom has different APIs, okay, for webinars, for meeting, for chatting, different those APIs are there. Okay, now they support webhooks as well. Okay, now from webhooks, based on event, like what kind of API you are using and what event does that support, so you can create an app that can just listen to those events and do whatever kind of functionality you want. Okay, to achieve with those basically responses which you will get from this. Okay, so basically first and third are not the applications which we are going to create. So we are going to create the second application, which is server to server OAuth application. Okay, because from my Node.js app I'm going to call the APIs of Zoom with account ID, client secret, client ID, whatever basically credentials they will give us, and that's it. Then we can have our access token, we can have our meeting created, whatever request body they accept. Okay, so let's click on this and click on create. Okay, now here is a application name which you want to give. So I will just give YT YouTube Zoom meeting video. Okay, now let's click on create. Now, after this, you will be redirected to the credentials page, okay, where you will get the app credentials like account ID, client secret, okay. So these will be the things which you will get, okay. Although I'm exposing this, but I will remove this project after this video, okay. So these key won't actually work, okay. So what you can do is just copy these, okay, and in the Zoom service.js, simply create some variables, okay, like Zoom account ID. Okay, because these are the credentials which you will actually use. Now, second is the client ID. Okay, now third is the client secret. Basically, you can copy this directly, or if you want to see, you can check this as well. Okay, so these are the only three credentials which we need to actually, make API calls to the Zoom. But before this, first of all, we want to, complete all the details, whatever is required in order to, activate this entire application. Otherwise, we won't be able to make any API call. Okay, so we have to add a description here. Okay, uh, uh, let's add some small description. Okay, Zoom meeting creation for YouTube. Okay, company name. I will put my own company name, Stack by Technologies. Okay, name of the developer. I will write my own name, and here I will add my email. Okay, so these are the secret tokens which we will get and which will expire in this. Okay, so we can regenerate them so that they don't get expire. Okay, if you want, you can add event as well. Okay, event subscriptions. Let's click on just continue. Now here, this is the most important thing. Okay, whenever you are creating any meeting, okay, whether it is a Google Meet, whether it is a Zoom Meet, okay, so you need to define scopes. Okay, like what is the scope basically? Okay, so you can read here. See, scope defines the API method this app is allowed to call. Basically, when you will make an API call to Zoom with this application credentials like account ID, client secret, and client ID, Zoom will know that okay, only this is the associated scope with this. Okay, so if anyone is making API call outside of this scope, then it will throws the error basically. Okay, that's it. So we are going to add an scope. So here you just need to search for meeting. Okay, here is the meeting. Now in meeting you will see create. Let's just search for create. Okay, so here you will get the meeting. Okay, see, create a meeting for user. Okay, so this is the basically event which we need to keep a track of, or this is the scope you can say basically. Okay, now here is this create a meeting for user. Okay, now see why I'm checking this one create a meeting for user, then again create a meeting for user. See, because there are some sections. Okay, let me show you. See, this is view and manage all users meeting. Okay, this is for sub user account. Okay, because see, this is my own account. Okay, so currently I'm not registered in any organization. Okay, but if I'm registered under some organization or this is my organization account, so I want to keep track of my sub user accounts as well. Okay, so I can do that thing. Now just click on add. Now you need to check mark these two. Okay, that's it. And just add a short description. I will uh, I am creating a video for YouTube on how to create a Zoom meeting. That's it. Click on continue. Now this is the most important step again. We need our app to be activated. So just click on activate your app. That's it. Our app is activated. Now we can easily use these Zoom API keys to create the Zoom meeting. Now let's see what we need to do basically. The next step. The next step is the documentation. Which we have reached out via this tab. Okay, develop documentation. That's it. Now, see, Zoom provides you several things. Okay, video SDK, meeting SDK, Zoom phone, contact center, virtual agent. Okay, these are the things which you can create. You can build a Zoom app, team chatting application, Zoom rooms, other things you can create. Okay, but that is not the thing which we need. Okay, we need to actually move to the bottom and this integrate section. Okay, so we need this server to server application. Integrate your Zoom with the integrate your account with Zoom API. Okay, that's it. This for internal to internal. Now, what we need to do is basically see these are the steps which we have already done. Okay, now the next step is to create an app. That is the thing which we have also done. Now, the third step is this how you can make an API call server to server OAuth. See, now if you scroll down a little bit, then you can see get app credentials. We have already got the credentials and they are present here. Now, this second step is to generate an access token. See, the most important thing is you have got the account ID, client ID, and client secret, but that is not enough for making or you can for creating a Zoom meeting. Okay, you need an access token which will be created with these credentials. Okay, so see, use the account credential grant type. Basically, grant type is also there. Okay, this account credential to generate an access token. Okay, this access token will be of owner. Who is the owner? I am the owner because I have created the application. Okay, so you can read all the descriptions. Okay, all the bullet points which are mentioned here. What other things are like what are the features of this access token, that it can only live for 1 hour, there is no refresh token, which means you cannot regenerate this again. Okay, you have to again make an API call for a new access token. Okay, you can generate and use multiple access token. See, I told you there is no refresh token, you have to make an API call again for new access token. Okay, token will stop working when the app is deactivated or removed. Okay, server to server auth applications can be removed. Okay, account administration can authorize the scopes available to developer and app types. Okay, that's it. So now here is this next step, how to generate an access token. Okay, so these are the steps. See, encode the client ID and client secret in base 64. This is the most important thing. Encode the client ID and client secret in base 64. Okay, second is we have to set up an API call, okay, to make an API call basically. So let's see how we can do. Okay, so let's click on this. Let's see from where we can get the API to make an API call. So here is the API. This is the curl command basically. So just copy this, okay, and open Postman. Okay, so in Postman, let me switch to my own personal workspace. Let's not expose the client applications. Okay, let's click create a new blank collection. Collection name is YT videos, and let's add a new folder in this. How to create a, so that's it. Now add a request. So we are going to just paste this request. That's it. Okay, it will automatically convert what are the required types. Okay, so it is a post request first of all. This is the URL. Okay, to generate access token. If you check the headers, in headers you can see that the first is the most important thing is authorization. Okay, in authorization you can see that it is a base 64 encoded client ID and client secret, and here you can see account ID is mentioned in the body and grant type is account credentials. Okay, so let's create a function, okay, to generate access token in our backend. Okay, so I'm going to create a function generate zoom access token. So it is going to be a asynchronous function and we are creating arrow functions. Let's have try catch. Okay, and let's add this. If any error comes, we will log it. Otherwise, we will throw this error. Okay. Now, first and the foremost important thing, how we are going to make an API call in our Node.js backend. See, in the starting only I was showing you the project structure that it contains a dependency known as node fetch. Okay, so I'm going to use this. So what we will do is let's import. Okay, let's go to the top and import fetch from node fetch. Okay. Also, we need base 64 as well, which is not present. Okay, so let's install base 64 as well. Now, what we need is let's make an API call. Okay, have a response variable where we will make an API call to the fetch. And let's remove this typo mistake. The URL is this. Okay, now the method is post. Okay, now what we need is the second thing is the header. Okay, headers. Now how we are going to create their headers? Okay, so if you check the Postman, that it is a basic base 64 encoded header. Okay, so we are going to now take the help of base 64. So let's import base 64 from the base 64 package. Okay, and let's create a helper function get auth headers equal to. Okay, so let's return the object from this. Okay, so object will contain authorization as the header key. Okay, because you can check here authorization is required. Okay, so let's copy and paste so that we don't have any typo mistake. Okay, now what we need is let's add backticks because now we are going to add template literals here. So we want basic. Okay, now we want actually the base 64. So let's add this template literals. Now add base 64 dot. It has a function known as encode. Okay. Now in encode, what we need is see this base 64 encode we have added. Now we need these two things: client ID and client secret. So let's add backtick and this. Okay, and let's remove this. Okay. So now let's add the Zoom client ID, which we are having. Then the second thing is Zoom client secret. Okay, and also we need one more thing, that is the content type, which is application slash JSON. Okay, now let's call this helper function here, get auth header. Okay, that's it. Now this will return us a response object. Okay, not a JSON response. So let's convert this into a JSON response using await response. Now this has a JSON function. So if you want to check this, then we can directly console.log this. Okay, let's copy the function name, paste it here, JSON response, and we want to console the JSON response. That's it, and return JSON response. Okay, that's it. Now, first of all, let's call this JSON response function, okay, so that we can check what is the response we are getting in the console. Okay, now based on that response, we can do further uh, coding. Okay, so let's save this. So I will go to the cd zoom. Now let's run this node. It is zoom service.js. We are getting an error, import fetch import cannot use outside module. Okay, so let's go to package.json and add type of module. Now this will work perfect. Let's close this. We got this. Okay, so here we are getting an error, reason unsupported granted type. Okay, so let's add the grant type as well to this. This is the grant type. So let's go to this, add body. Okay, so if you are using fetch, then we have to use JSON dot stringify. Okay, so first of all is grant type, which is this. It is going to be a static, so we can just place it here. Okay, now second is the account ID. So let's add it here, and we have Zoom account ID based, which is present on the top. Okay, so let's clear this and we hit this. Oh, okay. Wait. We missed something. We missed something in this. Sorry. Actually, the thing is that we need to uh, add this account ID here in the URL. Let's check this. Yeah, here it is. Grant type and account ID. Sorry, guys. By mistake, I added them in the body. So let's remove them. Add here. Okay, so grant type is going to be account credentials, and we need our account ID. So let's replace this with backtick. Okay, and we need here Zoom account. Okay, Let's see. See, now this API is working perfect, and now we have got an object which contain API URL. What is the scope? Expiring time 1 hour token. It is a bearer token, and this is the access token. Now this is the actual token which we need to create a Zoom meeting. Okay, so it means that our this these two functions are working perfectly fine. Okay, so now let's create a new function which will actually help us to generate a Zoom meeting. Okay, const generate Zoom meeting. It is again going to be a asynchronous function. Let's add try catch, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, okay. So now, how we can generate a Zoom meeting? Okay, now see, we have got the access token. Now, second is the make an API request. Okay, so now we will make an API request to this endpoint. See, send a get request with this header. Okay, to get details about your Zoom account. This will help us to get the Zoom account information. Okay, but we actually need an API which will help us to create a Zoom meeting. So let's search for that. Okay, we will get that thing as well. Let's just search for this. Let's see where is meeting. Okay, here is the meeting, and we want to search for create a meeting API. Okay, so this is the API which we need. Okay, so let's change it back to the there is JavaScript supported here, I guess. I just want the API URL where it is. This is actually the request.body which you can pass. Okay, what are the things you want to add and whatnot. Okay, so here is this. Let's copy this. Okay, and let's again add a response equal to await fetch. Okay, and we are going to add this package. Okay, and just replace this. Sorry. Let's modify this only. Okay, remove this user ID, and we are going to add just me. Okay, because it is just for me. I'm creating for my own. Okay. Now let's go to the basically documentation. And here you can see that two things are required in the header. First is the content type. Second is the bearer token. Okay. Now from where we are going to get the bearer token? From the above a function which we have written, generate Zoom access token. Okay. You can see that it returned us the access token. That's it. We are going to use the same. So let's add method. It is going to be a post request. Okay, then we need headers. In headers, the first and most important is content type, which is going to be application slash JSON. Now, this second is the authorization header. So we are going to copy the name from the top so that we don't get typo mistake. And it is going to be a bearer. Okay, now we somehow need the access token from this JSON response. So what we will do is we will not return the entire JSON response. Okay, instead of this, we will do an optional chaining, and we can just copy the key name, okay, and paste it here. And now we can use it here. Const zoom access token equal to await generate Zoom access token. Okay, now we can add this Zoom access token here. Okay, now the next thing is we need a body. Okay, now you will ask, why do we need body while creating a Zoom meeting? See, you want you need to send the body in the to the Zoom API, okay? Because in that you will be mentioning what is the duration. You can add password as well. You can add a time zone. You can add participants. So many things are present which you can add. Okay, you can customize it according to your need. Okay, so that's why we need to send our body in this. So what I will do is I will just hard code the values here itself. Okay, first is the let's go to the documentation only, and here let's copy this. Okay, and open Notepad. Okay, and in Notepad we are going to paste this. Now see, it contains so many information. Okay, and we don't need these all information for creating just a simple Zoom meeting. Okay, so let's remove the unnecessary details and we are only going to keep which are required, okay, which you actually need. So you need agenda. This will be the meeting agenda. You can add password, a default password. You can add duration. You can add a password for joining a meeting, whether it is a pre-scheduled meeting or not. You can add a recurrence as well if it is a recurring meeting, ending time, okay, end times, how many days, month, how many weeks, monthly, weekdays, repeating interval, type. Type is very important because Zoom has some, types associated with each and every meeting. So one is an instant meeting, two is a scheduled meeting, three is stands for some other different meeting. Okay. Second is scheduled for. So let's copy and paste all the important properties there one by one. Okay. So first of all, we need agenda, default password, duration, and password. These are the four things which we really need. So let's add them here. Okay, so let's change the title Zoom meeting for YouTube demo, default password, duration is 60 minutes. Password is 12345. I really like to create a small password for testing purposes. So we don't need a pre-scheduled, we don't need recurrence. We want scheduled for, because I should know like for whom I'm scheduling. Okay, so I will schedule just for my company. Okay. Okay. So I am just branding. If you guys need any freelance development service, please reach out to hi@stackbird.com. Okay. I will be happy to help you out in your product. Okay. Now, next is the settings object. Okay, see, settings is a very big object, which is kind of important. Here you can tell what are the settings you want to keep for your Zoom meetings. Okay, so let's add that thing as well. Okay, so in settings, you need additional data center region. You can specify that. We don't need. If you want allow multiple devices, you can add. Yes, we are going to allow multiple devices. Alternative host. See, this is a very interesting thing. If you are going to create a Zoom meeting, then you might think sometime that, okay, my name is Ajay. I have a Zoom account. I'm creating a SaaS product on my own. Now I want to create a Zoom meeting from my account. But when Zoom meeting is creating, I want to add an alternative host, suppose to my friend whose name is Ayan. Now that can be done only if you have a Zoom account. Okay, don't think if you don't have a Zoom account you can add an alternative host. Okay, because I tried, I got errors. Okay, and it was saying same thing that the email associate is not associated with the Zoom account. Alternative host email notification. So when you will add them as alternative host, if this key, if this value is present and if it is a true, then they will also receive a notification that yes, they have you know, they will receive a notification that meeting is scheduled basically, and you are the host. Okay, so let's add this thing. Okay, and in this, I will just add myself as the alternative host. Okay, so guys, this is my personal email. Please don't spam me. Okay. Approval type is there. Okay. Then we have approve or denied countries and region. Here you can deny what all countries and what all regions you want to deny. Audio you can also add whether it is a telephony audio, audio conference. Authentication domains you can add. Authentication exceptions you can add. Okay. You can add auto recording as well. If you enable auto recording, then it will directly is going to store in the Zoom cloud. Okay, you can add a breakout room. This is the most important because you can add a room as well where basically your meeting will happen. So let's name this room one only. And participants are going to be, let's say, myself, and it is going to be for hi@sagbud.tech. Okay, now calendar type one, it means primary calendar. Okay, so let's get out of breakout room. Let's add primary. We don't want close registration, contact email and contact name. You can add email notification. You can add if you want to send not email notifications, whether who has joined, who yes, who has joined. So let's add contact email. It is gmail.com. Contact name is Ajay Sharma. I want to receive an email notification, so I will check mark this. Okay. Encryption type is going to be enhance encryption. Okay, security will be there. Now, global dial-in country is US. Focus mode, if you want meeting to be created in a focus mode, basically, a focus mode means it can be a webinar or a normal teacher and student kind of uh, meeting which needs a focus mode to be enabled. Okay. So if you want to add a host a video, you can enable video hosting as well. Okay. Now join before host. This is a most important property. If you want to create a open meeting. Okay, so there are two types of meeting basically. One is a closed meeting, second is a open meeting. Closed meeting means first and foremost host will join. And when host will join, then host will allow all other students or all other participants to join basically. Okay, so if you want to join before host, false means I don't want anyone to join before host. But if I set this to true, then it will be an open meeting. Anyone can join. Okay. Now here is a language interruption which we don't need. Sign language interruption we don't need. Meeting type authentication you can add. Basically authentication before meeting. Meeting invitees, here you can add all other meeting invitees, basically a list of email who will receive meeting invites. Mute upon entry, yes, if you want, when a user enter, he should be mute. Check mark this. Participant video, I want other participants to enable their video. You can add false. If you don't want, if you want to enable, just add true. Private meeting, false. If you add true, it is going to be a private meeting. If false, it is going to be a open meeting, public meeting basically. Let's add this as well. Mute upon entry. Let's add true. Participants video. I want participants for video. Private meeting. No, I want it to be a. Sorry, yeah, I want it to be a private meeting. False means public. Now, registrant confirmation email. So all the registrants will receive a confirmation email. If you add this property, they will receive email notification as well. You can have a registration type as well. You can show share button as well. PMI as well you can add. Now the again most important property is waiting room. Whether you want to add a waiting room or not, we don't know. If you add, then all participants will be in a waiting room before host joins. Okay. Whether you need a watermark or not. Okay. So I don't want watermark. If you want, just enable it true. That's it. Okay, host save video order. No, we don't want host to save. Alternative host update poll means alternative hosts can create a polls in the meeting. Internal meeting, no. Continuous meeting chat, yes, we want to add continuous meeting chat. Okay, there are so many settings which we can add for a Zoom meeting. Okay, but it is just going to be a one time difficulty in adding all these properties and all. Okay, you can add participants focus meeting if you want focus meeting for participants as well. You can enable resource here. Okay, whether you want the Zoom whiteboard or whatever you want or not. Okay, device testing, you can have AI companions as well. You can auto start meeting summary as well. Okay, now these are some of the normal settings. Okay, and important settings. Now here are the last and the most important properties which we need. Okay, let's close this setting and paste them here. Starting time. What is the starting time of your meeting? So I will say that starting time will be just this. Okay, I want it to be immediate meeting. Or if you want to schedule a meeting, then from back end or from front end, you can just throw a date, a valid date basically. Okay, I don't want template. Time zone, you can specify. I'm going to specify my own time zone, which is Asia slash Kolkata. So it is going to be Asia. Now here you can add a meeting topic. Okay, so I will say that YouTube Zoom demo meeting. So this is the actual topic or the title which you can see in the Zoom meeting. Okay. Now here are the some of the tracking fields which you can add. We don't want, so we will remove it. Okay. Now type. This is the most important thing. Okay. You need to add a valid type here. These are basically numbers. Okay. So one stand for instant meeting. Okay. Two stand for scheduled meeting. Okay. So keep a note of this thing that you can find all these things in the Zoom documentation. Okay, like how I'm able to find these. Okay, because if you are a developer, you should know how to read documentation. Okay, so it might be written somewhere here only. Okay, see, type one instant meeting, two scheduled meeting, three recurring meeting, eight a recurring meeting with a fixed time, 10 a screen share meeting. So there are so many values associated with this. Okay, so you can use whatever value you need according to your need. So that's it. These are the only things which we need. Now this is the response body which we are getting. Okay. So let's convert it into actual JSON response equal to await response dot JSON. Okay. Now let's log this to the console. Generate Zoom meeting JSON response JSON response. Okay. That's it. And now let's call this function generate Zoom meeting. Okay, that's it. And let's remove the access token console because we don't need it now. Okay, so let's clear the console and let's make an API call. The value that you have entered in the scheduled for field is invalid. Okay, let's remove the scheduled for. Country code is not available. I guess we removed the country code or we don't added it. JSON JSON response and now let's try to make an API call. Okay, so the main thing is that let's comment out this thing. Let's add times to Asia slash Kolkata, and Kolkata. Use for instant meeting. Alternative host this route. Okay, so guys, let me tell you the issue. What is the issue? The issue is that global dial-in countries. Okay, so we are getting this error because we are present in India and we are enabling this global dial-in country as US, which is not available for us. So that's why we are getting this error. Now let's run this thing. And here you can see we have successfully created a Zoom meeting. Okay, now see, user ID, UUID of Zoom meeting, ID, host email. Okay, status is waiting, time/HCS/ Kolkata. Okay, here is the join URL. So now let's copy this join URL and let's now paste it in the browser. So now I already have a Zoom app installed. So it will tell me to open in that Zoom app, but I can directly launch meeting in the Zoom app. Let's see it. Let's close this. I don't want to zone my Zoom app. So here you can see having an issue with Zoom workspace app, join with your browser. So we can directly join with our browser, okay, as well. So let's see how it is to enter in the Zoom meeting. Joining meeting, show notification allowed, start chat. Let's close this. Here is the chat, and here you can see join audio is present. Let's close this. Join with computer audio allows. Here I am. It's a very old profile picture of mine. Just uh, okay. Just ignore this. Okay. So you can see that here participants are there, mute all, invite, more buttons are there. I can share my screen as well. Okay. So this is happening. Let's join from a different browser as well. Okay. I have Firefox as well. Okay. Let's join in via Firefox as well. No. Uh, let's wait. Launch meeting, cancel, join with your browser. Okay, let's join with this browser as well to check if it is an open meeting or not, because now we are joining the meeting from an anonymous browser. Okay, so let's add my name, stack by tech. Remember my name for future meeting, join. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. And it is taking a lot of time. Okay, now finally we are in the meeting. So join via computer audio, allow. Okay, now you can see that I am a host and StackByte has also joined, and StackByte is on mute. Okay, because we have passed the keys that are mute upon entry, which is true. So that's why it is mute. Okay. Now let's go and check this. So we are the host. Two participants are there. It is an open meeting. StackByte Tech is there and me is there. Okay. So that's it. How you can create a Zoom meeting. Okay. So I hope you like this video, guys. So do let me know if you need the same kind of video on Google Meet as well, because I have implemented Google Meet as well. Okay. So please do like, share, and subscribe to this video. And if you like my video, do follow me on my other social medias as well. Bye, guys. Thank you.